The Harley Davidson V-Rod. Hated by Harley riders, hated by non-Harley riders, but somehow still has a cult following. Who is this bike for? This is a 2007 V-Rod. Got it for a little bit of time, and I'm gonna try to answer some of those questions. Here comes a Harley right now. Come down this way, Harley. Come on, brother. Brother, oh, he's got the red lights. Brother! You know, this thing came out, what, 2005 or something, and went to 2017. It's always kind of known as not being like a massive success. People like these things. It just, I don't think they ever sold that well. That's at least been my impression. Why is that? An 1130 something cc, 5-speed, fuel injected, water cooled 60 degree. It's very different from all the other Harleys, and that's why the Harley crowd seemed to not like it, but nobody else really seemed to get too crazy about it either. They didn't want to adopt it because of the Harley stigmatism. This bike just seemed from the beginning. I'm gonna talk about it here. Forgive me, it's almost sunset. It was my daughter's birthday today, and my parents came over kind of last minute and surprised her. She's 10 years old. How old do you feel? I was 30 when she was born. Do the math. I guess it is time for me to have a Harley. It's that time there, brother. Let's get on this thing.
I've got myself into kind of a weird, oh man, I shouldn't have gone on it for, oh, I'm strong, got them strong legs. This thing is like 600 something pounds. Oh, I got it. Look at that full lock turn, barely dabbing, barely dabbing. That dude on that Grom or whatever it is over there popping them nooners. Man, what's that little thing there? Little, wow, this is a Harley. I only ride the Harleys.
Follow you on Instagram.
All right, man. Take care, sir.
Hey, you ride safe out there.
Brother. This bike was kind of a big deal when it came out for Harley, at least in the fact that this bike was like revolutionary. I mean, it's why the engine is called the Revolution. It's also a great play on words. The Revolution. In the last nearly 100 years, Harleys have been V-twins. They, there were some singles back in the day, but they've been not just V-twins, 45-degree air-cooled 2-valve V-twins. And pretty much the name of the game has always been, we make 1 or 2 engines and we shove that in everything. Like, there's different CC sizes and whatever else, but there's kind of like the main line that they're on. Ironhead, Panhead, Evolution, Twin Cam, several different versions, Milwaukee 8. By the way, real quick, I mentioned this is a giveaway bike. Just like we did before, this is through Fanism. I'll put the link on the screen. You can win this thing if you purchase some exclusive merch related to this bike. It's just something, if you're interested, no pressure if not, just enjoy the content. Now the point is that all these engines that I mentioned, up until like the Milwaukee 8, are very similar. The Milwaukee 8 is the one that's got 4 valves and a little bit of liquid cooling, and the Harley guys are actually not super fond of those too. There's a great E-twin shop over in McKinney, all like Harley kind of stuff, like real Harley kind of stuff. I was like, what do you think of that Milwaukee 8? You just hear the groan going through them. I was like, can you imagine if I showed up on this? They'd be like, oh, not real. The V-twin crowd, they do not like seeing big deviant changes from that architecture. Old school air-cooled, almost tractor-like engine made into a transmission. It's not actually physically, they're not in the same box. They have to be connected by a primary, and if you understand how the engine, the transmission are with the primary, you'd really understand why Harleys tend to leak a lot. Like, it really makes sense when you see how they're set up. It's not a good design. Also, that whole design is just going to be so limited for performance. It's one of the reasons Harleys just go huge. I mean, you get a 117 now. It's not quite 2,000 cc's, I don't think yet, but I think they're starting to flirt with it. They're getting up there. Let's turn here. There's no one behind me. These are pretty good brakes on this thing. This is the Street Rod. It's a particular version that has rear sets, inverted forks, and Brembo brakes, I believe, on here. They say Harley. I was told these are Brembos. I don't know that for sure. Don't quote me on that. But I've got twin 4-pots on this thing. We'll talk more about the actual bike itself in a minute. But with those engines, performance is very odd on them. They can get great torque out of them. Most of the gasoline seems to be going to noise. If you're used to anything modern, and by modern I mean something built like from the 1980s and up, Harley feels old. It does feel very old and clunky. And I'm not trying to crap on it for you Harley riders. It's an experience. I get it. I know people get real opinionated about it. And it's easy. I can see from the standpoint, if you're not into Harleys, you didn't start out with them. I didn't first either. I was always like, why would anybody ride these things? There's a thing there, right? There's a thing. But from the outside perspective, it's like, what are they doing? Also, to the outside perspective, Harley just builds cruisers. They don't build anything else. You ask a Harley guy, oh, it's a diverse lineup with this and that. And I know they've added the Pan Americans for their bikes now, but I'm saying for years, anybody outside the world of it, it's tractor style, clunky transmissions, heavy, old style suspension bikes at a really ridiculous price. And but the Harley crowd won't accept anything else. So like, I don't know what Harley was supposed to do. So like a bunch of lunatics, they decided to build this thing. Liquid cooled 1130, 4-valve, 60-degree. That sounds good, but it sounds like a badass V-twin. It doesn't sound like a Harley. The story goes, from what we understand, is that Porsche helped them co-develop this engine, which is an interesting brand to go pick to help you develop your bike. Not that Porsche, being German and building performance engines, could help them, you know, build a badass engine. It seems like a weird partnership, only because they're German, which is like Axis powers, and this is such an American thing, you know. So when you say it's got German work gone into it, you could see where people would be like, meh. And as the story goes, that whenever Porsche was like, all right, here it is, Harley came back and was like, hey, can you make it a little less smooth? So apparently they like made it rougher at idle. And Spite had this before me, and he pointed out something really interesting to me, is that if you start this thing up cold and you let it run, when it's on cold idle, it's fairly smooth, and as it warms up, it kind of goes into a lumpy-dumpy kind of thing, which I think is just tuning. Because of its radical departure, though, that was always a story that like the real Harley crowd really hated it. And I don't know how true that is. I mean, I've heard the grumblings, but if you actually showed up and tried to ride with their Harley riders and you were on a V-Rod, I don't know. I do think there's been like kind of a reamp of people riding in a group that aren't like 1%ers, but they think they are. They think people can't pass them. You know, you guys have seen those videos, right? I don't wonder, like, would you get an attitude for that? You roll up into the Harley on a ride out and be like, hey guys, I'm here on my ride. I wonder what they'd wonder if they'd actually give a shit. Hey, maybe Harley didn't really care if their core audience wasn't interested in this thing. I mean, maybe they were going for outside their normal demographic. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a cruiser, which is kind of what they make, but it is a muscle cruiser. And maybe you're trying to reach the crowd that normally wouldn't want to buy a Harley. You're going, hey, look, we got actual modern tech in this thing that you guys want. I mean, how many people said before this came out, oh, if Harley would just make a modern bike, I'd buy it? Well, they did, and it still, I don't think, particularly sold super well with the non-Harley crowd. And so I was trying to figure out why. Here's the conclusion I came up with. At the time when this thing came out in the mid-2000s, it's not exactly like there wasn't a bunch of already muscle cruisers on the market. I was kind of surprised. You go back and look, Magna's not quite as powerful. You had the V Maxes, they were 1200s, and ended up going up to 1700s later with a new generation. Those things are nuts. Got the old Triumph Rocket. The Diavel eventually came out, and this thing went all up to 17, so it's competing with those. Nowadays, you got the newer Rocket, which is crazy. There's a new Diavel, it's a V4. I know these are new bikes. There was a number of other badass bikes at its time. These were from brands that were a little more established with making that. I mean, like 1700 VMAX is new, the brand new engine. Can you trust it? Well, it's Yamaha, man. A water-cooled V4, I think they can handle it. But then, you know, if you turn around and said, well, hey, Harley just created a water-cooled V-twin, you'd go, hang on now, do they know what they're doing? And I think that's part of it. I think there was that. This thing was pretty pricey at the time too. I did a conversion with inflation, and you know, there were several different versions of this bike, but in nowadays money, I think it was anywhere from $23,000 to $31,000. Some of those other bikes weren't particularly cheap either, but they weren't quite on that high end. And on top of that, this thing still couldn't decide if it was going for the Harley crowd or not. It's got the Harley hand controls here, which I know sounds silly, but it's one of those things. You're not used to it, and you're looking at this bike out anew. It's got the 1-inch bars on it, which you get used to, but it's kind of weird when you're not. God dang, this thing does pull. It's got fake air-cooled vents on the side. It's got some chroming going on there. I'm not sure how much is appealed to that outside the normal realm crowd. You're asking too much from the non-Harley crowd to spend that kind of money on a bike that's unproven to them when there's other muscle cruisers and you don't necessarily care about the old bar and shield. It just doesn't mean that much to you. And to the Harley crowd, it was just too different. It just sort of flopped, and I guess that's kind of the shame of it, because as I spin the tire, it's pretty bad. It feels right. It feels built, and it's a goofy thing because, like I said, muscle cruiser, so it's long and low. But this particular version's got like rear sets on it. But it's got a narrow bar, but it's a 1-inch bar. It seems so confused. Is it trying to, like, who is it going for? I don't know. but it does work. It does kind of, it's actually a lot of fun. And if you saw the original video I had with me and Spyro riding around, I was laughing my ass off riding this thing. I think the other thing that's kind of nutty is that, like, I don't know if you could say this thing failed or not, but, you know, like, they quit making it, right? The thing that's so funny about that is then years later, Sportster S, which you could argue is like basically the new version of this thing. It's a Revolution Max engine, which is also a 1250 water-cooled 60-degree. By the way, that's what this bike eventually, I think, ended up being engine size-wise. And you go, isn't that basically the same thing? It's very close, but I do believe it's a complete different mill. That is a 6-speed, this is only a 5. But they're trying it again. I mean, I don't know about you. I don't see a lot of Sportster S's out in the world, but the engine is very similar. It makes almost the same power and torque that this one does. I guess the later version of this thing, the 1250 version. This is, again, the old 1130 some odd cc when they first came out. But the Sportster is like 150 some pounds lighter than this thing. Has a 6-speed, maybe a little bit newer styling. I think starts at like 20, whereas I think I was telling you this is like 23 to 30 with inflation. They were pretty proud of this thing at the time. You know, it's funny, just before going out and making this video, I saw that Chase on Two Wheels did a video about a he's got a Sportster S actually right now that he's doing like a giveaway with. Small world, Chase. I mean, not Sportster, you know, it's kind of funny. I was making a video where I feel like kind of similar points I was thinking about in this one. I actually kind of changed what I was going to say because it was very close to what he was going to get at. He was definitely getting at the whole thing of not understanding the hate towards Harley, not being a guy who's not really like super into them, but doesn't hate them. And I feel very similar about him. They're just another flavor out there. I think they're interesting. I get the whole complaint when you're new at riding and, you know, when you don't like it and you go, oh, they're just so, oh, I hate Harley. But I kind of feel like that's an opinion that people like to harp on when they're kind of newer into the game and they're, you know, they're looking for strong opinions to have about something so that they can, you know, sound like they have strong opinions about something. When maybe, you know, and we all do that. You know, we get into things that are new to us and we feel like we got to like have our 2 cents on everything. Right, a lot of times you just need to shut up and sit back. But I think there's also a big problem in society in general. Forget the bike thing for a second here, that we like to hate some shit that ain't meant for us. You know what I'm saying? Take music, for instance. When I was a young man, oh, I hate Britney Spears. Was this Britney? They hated Britney Spears. Then they hated Justin Bieber. Now people, oh, I hate Taylor Swift. I think this is the better thing to say. So saying I hate her, just say, it's not really for me. Taylor Swift music wasn't made for Jake. It's not my jam. And that's fine. I don't care. Which is why my opinion on it is very little. I don't have much of an opinion on it. Why would I have an opinion on it? I mean, I think maybe that should be our opinion about bikes we don't really care for, you know? If you don't care for a particular Harley Davidson or a Gixxer or whatever it is, KTMs, DRZs, Maeda, you know I'm talking to you. just instead go, brother. That's all Harley there. Just go, you know, it's not really for me. I think we'd all be a lot better off if we did that. Why am I talking? This is like, we got like philosophy now. What do you think though? Like the first few photos I posted this thing, I was kind of shocked how many people were like, oh my God, I love V-Rods. Yeah, it was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I thought this was just like, you know, a cool bike with a Porsche Harley engine that everybody hated. What do you think of them? What, do you hate this thing? Do you love it? If you do love it and you want to get it, you can, you know, there's a giveaway. Again, no pressure. Enjoy content. I'm going to make some videos with this thing. I think we're going to throw it up on the dyno. It's fanofthem.com. It's a veteran-owned company. So if you lose, which, let's be honest, you likely will. I'm just being real with you. That's how odds work. But you're supporting me. You're supporting a veteran-owned company. Fan of Them is a veteran-owned company. And, you know, again, like they're like, no pressure. If you want to, cool. If not, don't worry about it. Y'all take care. Patreons. There's a Patreon version of a lot of these videos. It's longer, ad-free, early access, and you can join my Discord, where you can tell me how much you hate this thing or love it. It might have been a bit rambly, but I just thought it was a fun topic to talk about. I'm sorry it got dark, but again, my daughter turned freaking 10. For those of you who remember when she was born, feel old. You are old. And so am I. Take care, everyone. Yeah!